9 or 10 people that probably just went over that, and we got to the end of the meal and I was planning how to do this all night. So I'm sitting there in my head going like this, like how do I get the card out? How do I just go, I've got it. And so I was doing this in my head the whole night, and my big sister was there and she was a big negative from the start. Her and my girlfriend were friends and she told my sister about the business and blah blah blah. So we finished the meal and all of a sudden I noticed my brothers and sisters getting money out, and I went, hey, don't worry about it. Lady came over, I went, just grab the card machine. And I did it, it was so perfect as well. Like, I had that look on my face. But again, that was one of my little step 7s. And that was like 2 months from when I started, so I had something to focus on that I really wanted to do for the 2 months. And by the time that 2 months passed, I'd progressed a little more. My goals are helping me get there, all right? So, they're your little short-term goals. Hey, who's here's mum or dad doesn't think this is a good idea at the moment? Cool. Why don't you just earn enough money to take them out for something to eat? Who here hasn't spent any money, who hasn't taken their mum or dad out for a meal recently? In the last month, who's not done that? Great, is it something you probably don't do very often? Great, we'll go out for food with them and pay for it. Shut the fuck up then. You know, when you get your first good profit in, just show them your fucking bank statement. It's different when you're bringing money in. Who lives at home with their parents right now? Who doesn't pay anything to live there right now? Cool, wouldn't it be cool? I know it sounds like a bit of a change, but if you actually offered them some money 1 week to live there. Right? Do you know what I mean? So it's these little things. Think about something that's going to impact someone in your life. Tell them about it. So if I'm going to take my mum for a meal in the situation you guys are in, I'm going to tell her, hey mum, just let you know next month on a certain date, I'm going to take you for a meal somewhere. She'll be like, well, you're on commission. You can't take me for a meal, can you? And then you take her and everything goes away. It's super simple. If you've got negatives in your life, bring home the bacon. That's all it is. Bring the bacon home and you'll be fine. All right? Cool, so making parents shut the fuck up, shut the girlfriend up, shut the sister up, I'm nearly there. Okay, cool. If you have a goal and you want to set it and you think, oh, that'll be a good one, write this down, tell everybody. Tell everyone. It's so easy not to hold yourself accountable if you keep it to yourself. Because you're not quite sure you're going to reach the goal in midweek and it's like, oh, I'm only on like 2 sales, and you haven't told anyone, so you're like, oh, it's fine. The minute you get a goal, tell everyone in the office. Tell your leader, tell your peers, tell your mum, tell your dad, go on Facebook, whatever, put it on Facebook. That's the only time I'm saying Facebook's a good idea. Tell everyone about it, okay? Everyone heard of SMART goals? Strategic, measurable, achievable, realistic, timescale? I just like the timescale one. I don't think realistic's a really good one anyway, so always set a timescale. Like with the watch, 4 weeks. Then tell everyone. So timescale and tell everyone. I suppose you need to have a little bit of realistic. That's why you do the profit point thing for working out a goal. It costs money. You can't like buy your Ferrari 458 in 4 weeks. Unless you rob the bank. Cool, time scales. Okay, that was short-term goals. Now midterm goals. Midterm. So this is kind of a goal that you're looking to achieve within 6 to 12 months. This is kind of a goal you can achieve when you get to assistant ownership or ownership. And I set this really cool goal. And actually, if my phone wasn't being used for a video, I've got a picture of a check that I wrote out, just like a check to myself, on March the 15th, 2015, which was about 6 months before I got to assistant ownership, and it was a check, and it was to help my mum and dad pay the mortgage off. Right, again, my mum still didn't really get the business, and it was a check for like 12 grand. It was probably quite optimistic, but anyway, what happened was, I stuck it on my wall in my bedroom, and basically, when I got promoted to assistant ownership, I needed to shut my mum up still, because she was still like, you know, oh, what's this office you now run, Paul? Is this the new promotion they've given you? It's just posh. And so what I did, super simple, my third or fourth paycheck, if you like, my third or fourth profit as an assistant manager, assistant owner, was about 1,500 quid. All right, they let me keep £1,500 in a week. I was quite impressed. So I wrote my mum and dad a check out for something like 460 quid, and I gave it to my mum, and she gave me it back, thinking I was having a laugh. So I just put it in the bank. I went to Lloyd's and put it in the bank, or TSB, one of the two. Right? And then my dad was like, Paul, and my dad had a little bit of a tear, and my mum was like, oh, you can't afford this, Paul, And I was like, no, I can't. Now, it wasn't one of these Facebook teary-eyed moments where I'm like, Mum, thank you for everything you've done for me. I just did it to make a fucking simple point. Okay, but it was something that I set myself 6 months ago that I could probably only afford to do in 1 week when I got promoted. So I'm setting myself goals now when I've got bigger, when I've got more money. And again, I learned I could do this from opportunity meetings like, you know, you guys should have every Saturday. All right. That was my one. But again, when you're assistant owner, you should never make less than £1,000 a week if you're not working hard enough. So, like, there's some really cool goals you could set yourself then. Maybe it's taking your family away, maybe it's, you know, whatever you like. If you're single, maybe it's having a couple of nights in a club in a VIP area. I don't know, whatever you like. £1,000 a week, think so. There's lots. All right, cool. Long-term goals, long-term. So these are the sort of long-term goals that you can probably start hitting when you people like Glenn and like Nick. And this is basically, most people you'll ever meet, their long-term goals are something that creates a passive income for them, because again, the goal of our business is that you should never really be working past 45. I don't know anyone that still works as much as, you know, we do at the moment if you're past 45, because with the money you can make as promoting owner, regional, national, you know, the goal is if you have more money than you need, you put it in good places. All right, so obviously we all know Glenn has a passive income now from this property he has, from his holiday home, which is going to give me mates rates on soon, cheers. And that's the kind of thing we're looking for. So long-term goals. There's a few national consultants that literally have retired their families. You know, there's a national consultant in America called Christoph Grizzard, Grizzard. He actually retired his mum on stage, which was pretty cool. All right, it was quite nice. I'm not emotional, so I was going like, right? But if you like that sort of thing, it's really nice. There's a girl called Danielle Hay that when I started in Newcastle was an assistant owner when I started. No, she was a leader when I started, maybe assistant owner. She moved over with Obi Sharinwet in New York. We're going to see them in a few weeks. They've run an office there. She's got a few outside deals. And she put this video on Facebook, and if you just type in Danielle Hay, Hay, and just go back to a couple of the videos on Facebook, her dad for some reason had to sell his Rolex, so when she had enough money she bought him like a 10 grand Rolex, and there's a video of him giving it to her in the kitchen and he's crying his eyes out. And they're the cool moments that you dream of, right? You know, it could be taking your kids on the dream holiday of a lifetime that you have to pay a bit of money for. You know, I'd never been to America, so I set a longer term goal to go to America. Last January, I decided at pretty short notice that I'd take my girlfriend and a few reps to Miami for a week, which was cool as well. Got to go and hang around with, you know, a couple of national consultants and regionals. And it's pretty cool when you can spend that much money in one go and you like, oh, that just worked, right? Yeah, it's cool. But again, we're looking long term. But again, my point is, the best way to discover that you have these goals inside you and they can be real to you is you need to spend time with people who achieve these goals. Cool? You need to look at their online stuff. You need to go on Facebook. You know, Gavin Walsh, the guy who we went to see in Miami, I just saw a Facebook post from him earlier. He's just bought his first house in America. Awesome. And he's got the car that I want, the BMW X6 sat outside, right? So I'm a bit jealous, but he's just bought his first incredible house in America. He's a regional consultant. You know, this guy moved from Huddersfield this guy moved from Leeds to America 18 months ago. He got to regional, he has like 40 offices. His own office makes like 70 grand a week. I've been there, it's unbelievable. There's 70 guys. He promotes more owners than most of our offices do, leaders, right? So again, like you've got to meet people who are like this. Otherwise, you'll never believe it's real. You'll just think that we all come from some sort of manager factory. All right? No, like Nick said earlier, I wish I had a video of my first 2 weeks in the field. I've still got a note on my phone, which I can show everyone if they want. On the iPhone, if I scroll down for about 5 minutes, it still says 20th of May 2014. Day one breakdown, feeling disheartened by constant rejection. We all start in the same place. But if you, yeah, thanks for that. But like if you hang around with people that can afford to do more than you can do and have more time, have more money, have more options, and that's the big word, options, you'll start to realize, once you realize that they're all real people, and you just go on their Facebook and go back a few years so they look different, had different jobs. If you go back on my Facebook long enough, you'll see my wonderful EE t-shirt, right? I'm afraid you can't go back as far as when I was a school cleaner because there was no Facebook then, but